So we'll get started. My name is Libby Murphy. I am with Vision Serve Alliance, and it is an honor to welcome y'all to our Research Doesn't Have to Be Scary webinar. And I will introduce our speakers in just a minute. But first, I'd like to call on our friend Jason, who is with Johnson & Johnson and who is sponsoring this webinar. And we appreciate their sponsorship of our programs throughout the Aging and Vision Loss National Coalition and Vision Serve Alliance. So thank you for joining us, Jason, and would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Libby, and thank you all for the great work that you're doing. Good afternoon and welcome to the Vision Serve Alliance webinar series. Research doesn't have to be scary, super appropriate for a day like Halloween. So again, thank you for the invitation. As Libby said, my name is Jason Van Hoof. I'm the marketing director for the U.S. Retina Gene Therapies team at Janssen Pharmaceuticals at Johnson & Johnson. And I will say, you've known us as Janssen, you know us kind of as Johnson & Johnson, but going forward, we will really be one entity as Johnson & Johnson. So our legacy name of Janssen will be going away. We certainly won't forget about the great work that Paul Janssen made to this great organization, but going forward, we'll be Johnson & Johnson. So thought I'd share with you that news in this webinar. But at Johnson & Johnson, we're harnessing our experience in pharmaceuticals and our broad ophthalmic footprint to cover the full spectrum of eye care from the front of the eye to the back of the eye. Many of you probably know Johnson & Johnson Vision or Johnson & Johnson Surgical, the AccuView lens. So we're expanding that, right? We're going now to the back of the eye. We're pioneering advanced research, including gene therapy solutions that have the potential to transform the lives of people living with hard to treat, rare, inherited, and common retinal diseases. Johnson & Johnson is focused on delivering breakthrough treatments that meet the needs of patients affected by common and rare forms of retinal disease, including inherited retinal diseases, which affect approximately about 165,000 people, including the aging population in the U.S. Here at Johnson & Johnson, we understand firsthand the importance of research and the impact it can make on advancing treatments and therapies for the low vision community. That's why I'm so excited to participate in today's panel to learn about the value and necessity of utilizing research data to help build and support program design, advocacy efforts, and funding strategies in support of the aging population living with vision loss. So thank you again to Vision Serve Alliance and our wonderful speakers for putting this webinar together. This is important research. It's an important topic. So thank you for that. I look forward to today's engaging discussion and learning more about the research articles collection, how we can support the low vision community going forward. So again, thank you for the opportunity. And with that, I'll hand it back over to the team here.
Thank you, Jason. And again, many thanks to Johnson & Johnson for supporting multiple programs of Vision Serve Alliance. Thank you. And Jason said it perfectly. We have a wonderful team assembled for you today to discuss this. This group of leaders who will be speaking to you today made an idea a reality. And it's one that can live on in perpetuity and make life much easier for professionals in our field and other fields who want to be able to put their hands on contemporary research about the very specific topic of aging and vision loss. So your speakers today are Ms. Jackie Borchardt, who is the president and CEO of Vision Forward Association. She became the president and CEO in April of this year after having served in other leadership positions at Vision Forward since 2013. And she's also very involved in our field. She's past chair of the Wisconsin Rehabilitation Council and a member of the governor's appointed interagency coordinating council and many other things. She's very involved in Vision Serve Alliance across the entire organization. And specific to this particular webinar, she's also co-chair of the Data and Research Committee, who came up with not only the idea but executed the research articles collection. So Jackie will be speaking to you shortly. Then we have Dr. John Cruz, who is, frankly, he's got a curriculum vitae that would take days to read, but let's just sum it up by saying he is a legendary data scientist specific to the field of disability, to older adults, to vision loss, and to the field of aging and vision loss. And he has retired from multiple careers and is now lending his talents to the Aging and Vision Loss National Coalition, also serving as co-chair of the Data and Research Committee of AVLNC. So we're especially pleased to have Dr. Cruz join us as well. And then we have Ms. Polly Abbott, who is with the OIB-TAC. She is a CVRT. And with OIB-TAC, she is an older blind specialist. And she brings with her a number of years of experience as a CVRT, also in direct service and in management, working with all ages of individuals who have blindness and low vision. And she is most certainly an SME, a subject matter expert in the field of vision rehabilitation. And I'd like to say, specific to this webinar, Polly is the architect of what you're about to see. Many people have put a lot of work and continue to put a lot of work into the collection, but there has to be an architect, right, to keep the structure right. And Polly is the one who makes that happen. So again, thank you all, Polly and Jackie and John, for giving of your time and talents to have this webinar. And again, thanks to Johnson & Johnson. And with that, I'm going to put myself on mute, sit back, and learn more about the research articles collection, which I know that you are interested in learning more about. And we'll want to have the recording of this so you can refer back to it and refer it to others. Thank you.
Well, Libby, thanks for that kind introduction. I appreciate that. I think I'll have to put on my CV that my CV will choke a horse and see if that's draws any attention. I want to welcome everybody who has joined us this afternoon to hear about this project. We've thought about our colleagues as we've developed this notion to kind of help our colleagues. So I have the easy part in this. I just want to talk about the purpose of the project, the genesis of it, kind of how we got there, and then Polly's doing, as Libby noted, Polly's doing all the work, and we're going to demonstrate the research collection that we have. So the Aging and Vision Loss National Coalition evolved, I think, probably about 3 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, under the auspices of Vision Serve Alliance. And when there was a kind of a steering committee, and the steering committee had a number of subcommittees under that. And so one of those committees was the Data and Research Committee, and Jackie, who I had never met before, who's such a wonderful person in this field, she and I were named as co-chairs of that. So not only did I get to work on this, but I get to work with Jackie. So one of the things they wanted us to do was to figure out what we would do in this Data and Research Committee. So we established some priorities. And one of the things we realized was that, you know, how very hard it is in this field, especially if you're working in a private agency or a student or in a public agency, when you're trying to gather together information to put together grant applications, to do public education. And so you want to have information to that, but it's not exactly easy to do. And so we tried to think about, you know, what is a way to overcome that? So we had these early conversations, and that ended up becoming the RAC. So next slide, please. So I've been in this field almost 50 years, I hate to say, and And when I started in the field, there was nothing. There's very little research, and now we're kind of at the point where there's almost too much information. If you go into Google Scholar and type in some keywords, a lot of stuff surfaces, and I think it's really hard to know what to read. And so what we propose to do is to use our collective knowledge and interest to curate a series of articles that would be available to our colleagues. And so you think, what I think about is when I was at CDC, I got paid to do research. And so, I would just start in with keywords and start building that knowledge, start reading the articles that I wanted. If there was a cost to the article, CDC paid for that. And so if you see an article in like Google Scholar or PubMed, and it's not publicly available, it costs about like $35-40 to download the article, which is a lot of money. And you don't have time, I think, to spend a lot of time reading a bunch of things, especially if they're useless to you, not particularly useful to you. So we thought, as we thought about this project, we really kind of put the needs of our colleagues front, and thought about how we might be able to be useful. So next slide. So we think about the potential solution then, as I mentioned, is we want to curate, we want to select a set of articles regarding aging and vision. We have a process, kind of an informal process, where our colleagues are judging articles that are worth reading, essentially saying to our peers that this article is worth reading. And the idea is to create a kind of a repository where you can do the first cut of research. We're not at all promising that this is a comprehensive device. That's not the idea. It's just that we want to be the go-to place when you have some research to do. So writing a grant, doing a public information, trying to put together some advocacy work. We want you to go here first, and then you can get the articles that your colleagues have recommended to you. And then once you get comfortable with that, if it's enough, then you're done. If you need more information, then you can go to other search engines as well. So next slide. Okay, so Polly has taken upon herself, and I have to give her great accolades. She has created a searchable electronic system to house these articles, and I want to recognize the Mississippi State University and the OIB-TAC for being willing to house this article, this repository in an ongoing way, because there are costs to keeping this thing alive. There's costs in terms of money and in terms of time. So I'd like to introduce then Polly, who's going to show you how this system works. Thank you.
Thanks, John. I would first like to say that thank you for the accolades. However, I am really just have been the intermediary between this committee and the wonderful people who work in the ITS department at Mississippi State University, who really are the ones who have brought to life all of our dreams and hopes for this collection. So what I'm going to do right now is give some information on the structure of the rack, and then I'll do a little bit of a live tour just to point out the features in real time and give a demonstration of how the search features work. So to get to the rack, you first must go to www.oib-tac.org. This is the homepage for the OIB-TAC Center, where you can find the rack. So there's two ways to get to the rack off of the homepage. The first is that you can scroll down, and we hope you will do so, and read the page, because near the bottom there is a link that says go to the rack, and so it will take you to the rack homepage. I would like to particularly point out that the rack itself is comprised of 2 pages. So the first page, which I think of as the home page, has information about research. We have future plans for the research, and they will live on this page. And then the other option is to click on the Search the RAC link from that page, and it will take you to the searchable page. Both of these pages are available from the navigation menu, so you can go to either one from there. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen and give a live tour. So here we have the OIB-TAC homepage. And as I mentioned, if we look down about 3/4 of the way down the page, there is a link that takes you right to the research articles collection. So if you're using a screen reader, you can just look for your links and arrow down until you find the button that will take you to the research articles collection. And also off the navigation menu, if you look under resources, you'll find the last item on the drop-down menu is the research articles collection, and this will also expand to give you the option to go directly to the search page. We're going to start on the research articles collection homepage. We have the option on the homepage right away to search the RAC, and one of the things that got me really excited about participating in this project was the fact that it seemed such a logical fit for this collection to be housed at the National Research and Training Center, which is in Mississippi State University. And so we wanted to make this a bit of a go-to location for people looking for what research is available in our field. And here we have some options outside of the RAC where you can go. We have a direct link to VisionServe Alliance's big data project. You can go and see what articles the NRTC has published. The other option is to go to the NRTC research articles summary. And when I was doing direct service, this was a favorite place because you can go read plain language summaries of what the research means in terms of how it can help you improve the direct service work that you're doing. Also on this homepage, we provided just a brief summary about our partnership with AVLNC and VisionServe Alliance, just to help people understand why we have this. And lastly, there is always a random selection of featured articles, and these appear as links. Visually, they're on 3 different cards. And I want to point out one of the features that we have in terms of how this appears on the screen. Accessibility is important to us, and each of these cards were developed to have a bold line down the left-hand side, and they're color-coded. The RAC contains articles where it is, the articles are available with free access to have the entire article, or some articles you have to pay to read more than just the abstract. And so we've color-coded this throughout the RAC. Anytime you see an article, the free articles will say free article, but they'll also have a turquoise blue color associated with them. And if they are a paid article, they'll always have this dark cinnamon color down one edge. And that, as I said, is consistent throughout the whole RAC. So let's go to the search page. On the page where you search for articles, we are hoping to get feedback from anyone who uses this at a certain point. And so we have 2 buttons here. One is a like button, which I hope if you like it, just simply press it. You'll get a thank you for your feedback message. And then the other one is a survey about the RAC, where we are trying to get some feedback in terms of who's using the RAC, what they like, what they don't like, and then we will take that information in the future and use it to tweak the RAC or make any other changes to it. And then about the middle of the page, we have the search boxes. And then there's always the listing of articles for the RAC. If you feel like just browsing to see what is in the RAC, you can look at these articles, and then underneath the whole list of them. There are different pages to the articles where you can just simply browse if you wish, just to see what's there. Our goal is to have about 100 articles in the collection at any one time, and we're slowly in the process of getting up to that number. So the last thing I'll do is just show you a little bit about how the search features work. One of the things that I asked to be developed was that people might want the ability to only look at articles where they're free and they can read the whole thing. So that is a feature. If you go to the free search field, you can choose free and you'll only get the free articles. The default, though, is any. So when you search, you'll see the paid articles as well as the free ones. We also have a date, a searchable date. So for example, if you want to see what the most recent research articles are that we have in the collection, I've typed in 2020. When I hit apply, the search feature will show us that we have only one article published right now after 2023. There will be more as time goes on. Once you do a search, there is a reset button, which now appears up by the search boxes. And once you hit reset, it clears all of the search fields. If you're looking for anything by a particular author, you can just go there. I typed in earlier John Cruz's name to see what he's been up to for the last few years. And of course, it will pump out a list of anything that has his name on it. When you click the links to go to one of these articles, it will always open in another window. And again, I'll hit the reset button. And the last search box that I want to show you is just the one that says search. So the search function of the entire rack works like a Google search. You can type in anything here and it will pump out a list of anything that has a potential match, just like when you do a Google search. So I tried a common topic. Let's do falls. So I type in falls. And then we get all of, there actually are quite a few articles that have to do with falls that we get to see. So that's just a basic tour of how the rack works. It's pretty simple. I hope you'll remember to give us some feedback.
Great, thank you, Polly. So just wanted to fill you in on some of the next steps that we foresee for the rack. As John had talked about, this was a process to get to this point of really identifying the structure and working through the partnership with OIB-TAC to make this happen. And we put in a lot of time and effort, but we see that our work is not done. So we want to work to continue to add additional articles and also look at additional journal sources. So there are many different sources of journals where we can look to pull content in order to drive new articles into the research article collection. And we feel like we've gotten some of the main article sources, but want to continue to broaden that and identify additional sources from other journals that can help to bolster the content that we have within the research article collection. We also want to focus on potential future training for professionals in the field and anyone who's interested really around how to interpret the information that they find when they do get a research article. Sometimes the findings can be complex, can be difficult to interpret. So we want to really provide those supports so that individuals who do find the articles that they're looking for can really make sense of the information that's being conveyed from the articles and use that to its fullest benefit. In addition to that, we want to continue to look at adding more features. As you can see, there's some pretty nice and robust, easy to use features within the research article collection already, but we have the ability to continue to make adaptations and to make the product better. So we certainly are open to ideas around what additional features could help to make this more usable and allow it to be a better resource for anyone who is interested in it. So we're hoping that all of you can be part of the help to push this on to its next step. So there are a number of ways that people who are interested can help us to continue to enhance this resource. So as mentioned before, please provide the feedback. There's a really simple link on the search page where you can go ahead and provide us feedback through the survey. Also, please, if you like this resource, do select the like button. We're tracking, we're using that in our metrics to find out how many people have reported that they've liked the resource. So we want to make sure that this effort is really being put to use. So let us know your thoughts. In addition, we are always interested in suggestions for additional articles for inclusion. So if you feel that there is a strong article that relates to the field of aging and vision loss, but you don't see it in the RAC, please share that information. In a later slide, you'll see contact information for some of us. Don't hesitate to reach out and to suggest that the article gets considered for inclusion with our committee. So speaking of the committee, please consider joining our committee. We have a great group, but it is definitely a small but mighty group. So we are always looking to recruit new individuals who would like to be part of this work. As we said, that we've really been able to take something that just started as an idea and really put it into action, and that's been incredibly rewarding. And it's a really fun group of people who share their commitment to this and recognize the value that it can bring to our field. So we would love to have additional members of our committee so that we can ensure that we have really the bandwidth to continue to evaluate new articles and to add additional content to this resource. Along with that, please help us to spread the word. We've been working hard through our networks to let as many of the professionals in the field as possible know that this resource exists. But all of you can help us with that as well by spreading the word to your colleagues, sharing this information with other members of your staff who might be involved in program development, in grant writing, in advocacy. Ensure that as many people as possible take advantage of this. We want our work to be put to use. So please help us in terms of sharing that information with any and all others who could benefit. So as I mentioned, we do have contact information. This is my contact information as one of the co-chairs of the Aging and Vision Loss National Coalition Data Research Committee. Feel free to reach out to me at any time if you have interest in the committee, have feedback to share, and or are interested in suggesting articles for inclusion. So my email address is jborchert, which is BORCHARDT @vision-forward.org. So if you reach out to me, I'll ensure that you get connected with the committee and or any information that you share, that it gets passed along to our committee as well. We also have information here about OIB-TAC. I don't think that we can say enough about the support that has been provided by OIB-TAC to really put this idea into fruition. As Polly mentioned, she really worked hard with her IT team to take this vision and make it into a really user-friendly webpage, and really did a fantastic job. Our committee can't say enough about what OIB-TAC has done to make this happen, and it's been a great partnership to be able to bring together this idea and the will to make it happen from the Aging and Vision Loss National Coalition with another entity who could put it into action. So again, want to recognize OIB-TAC for their partnership in this and the effort that was put behind the scenes to make this into a great resource. All right, that wraps everything up. So at this point, Polly, John, and I would be happy to answer any questions, or if you have any initial feedback, we're all ears for that as well.
This is Libby. I have a question. So is the research articles collection going to be continuously updated, and as publications get older, as they age, will they be dropping off? I think right now 1999 is the bottom number. And so then in 2024, will that roll up by a number?
Great question. So something we're certainly cognizant of is the recency of articles and recognizing that there's always new research that's being released, but also that articles can become dated. So one of the things that we did as a committee was to create a rubric that's used consistently in our evaluation of articles and helps to guide our decision making for inclusion. So one thing that we do think about is the age of the article. So in general, we're trying to look to include articles that are approximately 10 years or less old. However, we do have an exception point to that, in that if there is an article that really has some seminal research, something that we feel is really relevant to the field even now, even 20 plus years later, and there in some cases are not more recent articles that have updated that information, then we will consider inclusion of older articles. So it's not that it automatically will drop off, but that we are cognizant of the age of the articles. Going forward, we will, periodically look to review the articles and ensure that maybe if a new article has been released and has now kind of trumped an existing article, that may be a time to pull that article down. But for now, we're not kind of using an automatic exclusion around an article based upon its age, if as the years pass. In terms of adding new articles, absolutely, and that's part of why we're really looking for some help, is that we need individuals who can help with reviewing articles and utilizing the rubric in order to make recommendations around article inclusion. And that's something that takes some time, and we would definitely welcome additional people who are willing to put in that work. You do not have to be a researcher. I myself am not a PhD. We've tried to make the rubric really simple and easy to use. And the goal is to find those articles that do have information that is meaningful and salient to professionals. So it's great to have other people who are professionals in the field to be part of this review process. And then questions and opportunities for discussion go back to the committee, and we can then build a consensus around inclusion.
If I could just add to address your question, Libby, about old articles. One of the things we have been doing is building processes for making sure that we have ways to continually update and keep track of what articles are actually in the RAC. There's a lot of giant spreadsheets and automatic filtering systems to help us keep track of what is where. And in terms of the committee, we're also developing processes for helping new members cycle on, older members cycle off, to retain that institutional knowledge, so that this committee and the RAC are being built with very strong foundations so that it will be around for a long time.
Thank you, Polly and Jackie, for that great answer.
Any other questions or comments?
And for those of you who joined us maybe a few minutes late, this is Libby Murphy with Vision Serve Alliance, and just want to let you know that this is being recorded, and it will be, a link will be sent out to the attendees, to all those who registered. And Helen can better answer this, but I believe it will also be posted on our YouTube channel, but I can't guarantee that. That's a Helen question.
Yes, that's correct. It'll be posted on the YouTube channel along with the resource slides to help you navigate that.
All right. Well, if there are no other questions, it looks like my contact information has been shared in the chat, so don't hesitate to reach out. And again, a huge thank you to both Polly and John for all of your work to help to make this happen, as well as the support of Vision Serve Alliance to share this information with all of you today.
Thank all of you for attending. And again, we appreciate this sponsorship of Johnson & Johnson, who help make programs like this possible. Thanks again.